What is going on, guys? My name is Taylor Stuber, and I'm here to break down this December 25th, yes, the Christmas Day NBA slate, the best slate of the year. It starts at 11 a.m. Central Time. I will be going live on twitch.tv/Taylor Stuber. Links is in the description. An hour before, even on Christmas days. I know that a lot of you guys are going to be there still because, you know, we're all degenerates around here trying to play some NBA DFS on Draftkings and Fanduel. And, of course, the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. But before we do anything, guys, I'm looking at my analytics. Over 60% of you guys that are watching this video aren't subscribed. If you guys can subscribe, like this video, and then comment below with your favorite play of the day, I will give one of you guys $25 via PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever it may be, every single Sunday. So it's something, if you guys help me, I'll give back to you guys as much as I possibly can. And of course, guys, my content is completely free. So I provide everything over here on YouTube. And then if you guys really want my in-depth analysis, my team-by-team notes that take me hours on hours every day, my cheat sheets, my player pools, my FanDuel lineups, all you have to do is join that Discord. The link is below. We're over 600 strong over there in just over 2 weeks. So it's been crazy. The growth has been amazing. The appreciation you guys are showing towards me has been so overwhelming, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. I think the numbers on Twitch are growing massively, and I'm gonna keep up the content. So yeah, let's just jump right into this massive 5-game slate. So we will go with team by team. I know a lot of you guys like it this way, so this game is going to be a bit longer. I got a lot of notes, but I think there's a lot to say on this slate, a lot to go over from what happened the first game. But we start with the Pelicans versus the Miami Heat. A 226 over under. The Heat are 5-point favorites. Currently, the Pelicans are very healthy. They're a full healthy squad, but they do run a tighter rotation. 10-player rotation, but Hayes and Nicola Alexander-Walker played less than 6 minutes. Melly got into the teens, but a lot of that had to do with Zion Williamson getting into foul trouble. Now, if Zion doesn't get into foul trouble, it looks like he was on pace to play 34 to 36 minutes. We know he's off of that minutes limit that he was last year. So expect a bounce-back game from Zion Williamson. And like I mentioned in my Twitch stream, we got him at 7.5K. And I was saying he's going to be in that 8.5 to 9K range before you know it. They already hiked his price up to 8.1K. But one of the more interesting things in this game, or in that last game, is that Ingram played a team high 37 minutes, which is reasonable. That makes sense. But he was the main ball handler with a 47.8% assist percentage. Lonzo Ball's assist percentage took a massive hit. So if we get Ingram running as the point, it's going to be absolutely crazy. And by the way, I think this is a flaw in the projections, and they're going to be slow to catch up to it. Over here on PrizePicks, Brandon Ingram's over-under is set at 35.5. I would slam the over. If he's going to play 36, 37 minutes, be the main ball handler, and be the second highest, if not the highest usage guy on this team, the over seems inevitable. So if you want to get on the over on Brandon Ingram, 35.5 points, I would do it now because I already told my guys in the Discord. And so the number is going to start rising. If you guys want to play over here on PrizePicks, of course, the code is Taylor, TAYLOR. You'll get a 100% match bonus. And then I posted the rest of my plays over in Discord already, but that's a great play. And then Eric Bledsoe, he's finally playing big minutes with this new New Orleans team, going away from that Milwaukee Bucks, where he was only playing like 30 minutes a game, if that. But he played a second team high in 34 minutes. So him, Zion, and Ingram seem like the mainstay in minutes in that 34 to 36, 37 minute range. So we get a discount on him at 5.6K. And over here on FanDuel, if I can unselect. Oh, oops, I was looking up Dante DiVincenzo earlier. We get Eric Bledsoe at 5.6K again. 5.6K on both sites. That's absolutely crazy to me. Don't understand his price right there. Oh, sorry. we'll get back into it. Sorry. Redick and Hart, I think they're both fine plays considering how barren the slate is with Valley. Both should play 26 to 28 minutes. Bledsoe really is cutting into their minutes. I think Zion being in foul trouble is one of the reasons why they got a couple extra minutes. So maybe around that 26-minute range. I think they're fine plays just given how weak we are when it comes to value plays on DraftKings. FanDuel, there's a plethora of mispricing. And then I think Williamson and Ingram are too cheap over here on FanDuel. Move over to the Heat. They are favored in this game. They're healthy as well. A 10-man rotation. None only saw 8 minutes, and that was all in the first half. Didn't play in the second half, so it looks like he is losing favor on this team. He might not even play this game. I mean, it's not looking like he's going to play all that much if the games are competitive. More of a guy off the bench when the games are blowing out. But Jimmy Butler started at point guard with Dragic coming off the bench, which was nice to see because Dragic off the bench is amazing. 25% usage, 43.8% assist percentage, led the team, averaging 1.5 fantasy points per minute in 25 minutes. Now, 5.3K I think is a little too cheap for him. It was just like the regular season last year where he had massive usage and assist percentage off the bench, and per minute, he was a per minute producing fiend. And so if we get him at 5.3K and he's going to play 25 to 27 minutes, man, I mean, he could blow this price tag out of the water. And if he could get up to 30 minutes, this price tag will be pretty funny. You're really going to have to decide between him and Tyler Hero. Hero's $300 more, but he's probably going to play 5 to 7 more minutes, but be far less productive when he's playing next to guys like Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Hero was the clear third fiddle of the starting lineup, third in usage and assist percentage behind Adebayo and Butler on that starting lineup. Obviously, he's behind Dragic in both those categories as well. But those three players, Adebayo, Hero, and Butler, played 26 minutes together. So if 26 of his 32 minutes are going to be next to those two guys, his upside is severely limited. Dragic coming off the bench plays less next to those guys. And so I think his upside is a bit higher despite playing less minutes. Bam Adebayo played 34 minutes, 30.8% usage percentage, 21.1% assist percentage, 17.1 total rebound percentage, averaged 1.21 fantasy points per minute that first game. Jimmy Butler, 35 minutes, 26.6% usage, 28% assist percentage, and then a 1.26 fantasy points per minute. We did see a couple minutes between Bam and Olynyk next to each other. And we could see it again in the same exact matchup because their front courts are pretty comparable with Steven Adams and Zion Williamson. It's pretty comparable with the Orlando Magic, who they just played with Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic. So we could see a couple more minutes, 18 to 20 minutes out of Kelly Olynyk at 4.1K, averages over a fantasy point per minute. So a pretty solid GPP play down here. And if for whatever reason Bam Adebayo gets in foul trouble for whatever reason, he's going to be the immediate backup for him. So Kelly Olynyk could get some extended work in this game like he did last time out against the Magic. Move over to the Golden State Warriors versus the Milwaukee Bucks. 232 over/under. Now, this is the really only blowout concern game. Bucks are currently 9-point favorites. Draymond Green is going to be out this game, even though he returned to practice today. I just got news of that. But he's going to be out. Pascal started the first half. I know a lot of us got burned from it. Kind of got PTSD even talking about Eric Pascal. And then Toscano Anderson started the second half. So we need to wait and see on who's starting in this game. I think both of them probably split their minutes. But if Toscano Anderson gets to start at 3.2K, he's definitely interesting. Neither of these guys are very good per minute producers, but actually, going all the way back from last year, Pascal averaged 0.97 fantasy points per minute. So if he's starting, he could bounce back, but they did raise his price from 3.8K to 4.7K, which makes him pretty undesirable at that point. The first game blew out, so you're going to have to extrapolate the minutes, the first half minutes, to really see what they were going to play over the course of a whole game. If this game does stay competitive, Curry was on pace to play 36 minutes, Wiggins 35 minutes, Oubre 32, Wiseman 26 minutes. Kerr reported that Wiseman would be playing in short bursts to begin the season, like 4-minute stints, but he's clearly the best center out of Kevon Looney, Marquise Chris. He had a 28.9% usage in 24 minutes, but he played the last 7 minutes and 46 seconds of the game with the JV squad. The game really blew out, and so he was the focal focal point on the offense in that given time. So take that with a grain of salt. They did raise his price to 6.2K over here on DraftKings, but on FanDuel at least, he's still down at 4.2K, and it's going to be hard for me not to play him, because if he's going to play 24, 26 minutes a game with how good he is offensively and how active he is around the rim, and he'll shoot jumpers too. So I like the upside of him at 4.2K on FanDuel, not so much on DraftKings. And I think Wiggins and Oubre are both pretty solid plays at their given price points on FanDuel. Not so much on DraftKings after they raised them, especially after a poor performance the first game out. Move over to the Bucks. DJ Augustin is questionable. DiVincenzo's minutes are more secure if Augustin is out, but I think he should he should continue to play 26, 27 minutes a game. I think he's one of the better value plays at 4.7K. But the main thing about this Milwaukee team is that Budenholzer is finally playing his starters bigger minutes. We saw that Drew Holiday, Middleton played 38 minutes. Giannis played 36 minutes. So we like to see that, because last year, guys like Middleton, Bledsoe, Giannis were only playing like 30, 31 minutes at most. So if this game does stay competitive, you're going to want to pair guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo with Steph Curry, because if you think the game is competitive, both of those guys are too cheap at these price tags, and then try to find some value down low. But Giannis, one of the better spend up options, obviously, if he's going to play 36 minutes in a competitive game. He had a 44.3% usage rating, 21.3 total rebound percentage. But yeah, those minutes are everything for these Milwaukee Bucks guys, and I think that Giannis is a bit too cheap if he's going to be playing that, because we were paying near 12K for him last year when he was only playing 31, 32 minutes. So if he's going to get a bump of like 4 minutes, that's like an extra 8 fantasy points, and so we're getting a small discount at 10.9K, like Giannis Antetokounmpo quite a bit. Then we'll move on, and then the rest of the ancillary pieces I'm not that interested in. We'll move on to the Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. We got a 227 over-under. Nets are currently 2.5-point favorites. Nets are healthy right now. The first game blew out, obviously, against that same Golden State Warriors team. Allen and Jordan played 19 of the 24 minutes. Center minutes in the first half. They didn't play all that much in the second half because of the blowout. We saw that Jeff Green played 5 minutes, but I don't think they're going to have the luxury of playing Jeff Green at the 5 this game. So we're going to see more minutes from DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen. And the reason is we saw this Boston team start Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice next to each other. Now, they only played 11 minutes total next to each other, but if they are going to be playing that big and they're always going to have a big out there like that, I don't think that we see Jeff Green at the 5 all that much. I think he's mostly backing up guys like Kevin Durant off the bench. So I do think that DeAndre Jordan at 5.6K is a fine play. He was a good producer when he was out there. He was active. Jared Allen a bit too expensive at 6,400, but it's pretty clear to me that DeAndre Jordan's going to be playing more minutes out of 2 of those guys, at least as of right now. Durant and Irving were both on pace for 32 minutes. Both those guys, Durant 29.6% usage, 1.78 fantasy points per minute in his time. Irving 26.6% usage, averaging 1.62 fantasy points per minute. So I think both those are pretty solid plays in this price range. Wish they would play more minutes, but on FanDuel, they are just entirely too cheap. They are must plays over there, as well as Curry. I think that there's a bunch of mispricings on FanDuel. If you guys want to see what I'm doing on FanDuel, make sure to join that Discord. Link is in the description. Because we have, I think we've only lost 1 night since the preseason began, maybe 2. It's been absolutely crazy over there. And then we get LeVert. He played 24 minutes, but would have been closer to 26 to 28 minutes. He continued to do what he did in that preseason game, because when he's coming off the bench, he had a 32.6% usage rating, averaging 1.97 fantasy points per minute. He's an absolute lock on FanDuel at 5.8K. I think he's a bit too expensive on DraftKings. They raised his price to 7,200, but most of his minutes are going to be off the bench without Kyrie, without Kevin Durant. So his usage is going to remain in that like 27-28% range. If I had to guess, 32% usage is a bit outlandish, but he is clearly the alpha when he's out there. And I think Joe Harris, they raised his price on DraftKings. Don't like him nearly as much over here because he was 4.8K last time. I liked him more then, but 4.3K on FanDuel is a great price. Move over to the Boston Celtics. Kemba Walker is out. Gordon Hayward is no longer with this team, and that's something I should have caught last time out, because with Walker and Gordon Hayward out, Thompson and Ty started next to each other. They only played 11 total minutes alongside each other, and that was at the beginning of the halves, the first and the second half. They could do that again this game. We're going to have to wait and see what the starting lineup ends up being. But Tatum and Brown, they're the clear offensive players on this team with no Hayward or Walker. Tatum played 32 minutes with a 37.1% usage rating, shot 28 times. Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, played 37 minutes with a 28.5% usage rating, got up 24 shots. Jaylen Brown is one of my favorite plays on both sides. $7,000 over here on DraftKings. And like I mentioned, over here on PrizePicks, you can pair Brandon Ingram over 35.5 with Jaylen Brown over 37. I already gave my members those plays, so if you want to get on it, make sure to hop on that right now. And then Teague off the bench at 4,000 could be a really good, or 4,200 rather, could be a really good DraftKings play, just because they're so desperate for offense right now. It's really, Teague is their third best offensive player at this point. It's crazy. He closed the game in crunch time. He played 25 minutes with a 27.5% usage rating, 21.1% assist percentage, which was a team high, averaged 1.47 fantasy points per minute. As of right now, he's my favorite value play. We get Marcus Smart at 6,700. He played 38 minutes last time out. Not the best fantasy producer, but we have seen that he can have some big games, especially when given this many minutes and with no Kemba Walker. So I think he's a bit priced out at 6,700, but would prefer Jaylen Brown much more for just $300 more. Move over to the Dallas Mavericks versus the Los Angeles Lakers, 229 over-under. Lakers are currently 6-point favorites, which I'm kind of skeptical on considering how they're bringing along LeBron and AD to begin the year. Porzingis is out for the Mavericks. Obviously, he should miss some more time moving forward. Like last year, Doncic continues to have massive rates with Porzingis, 38.2% usage rating, 35.7 assist percentage that first game. He shot very poorly and put up a massive game. So if he shoots better, which he definitely should, especially we saw that after the game, he was really beating himself up over shot selection. So if we could see a really motivated Luka this game, and if he's shooting better, man, he could destroy this price tag. Him and Giannis are the clear 1A and 1B pay up options today. We get Josh Richardson at just 5,400. I think that he is pretty clearly the second best player on this team as of right now, and they're playing him big minutes, matching the minutes with Luka Doncic. Played 36 minutes in that first game. 5,400 is just way too cheap for him. And then one of the more interesting things on this slate is Dwight Powell. He's coming off that Achilles injury. They pronounced that he was a full go going into training camp and whatnot, but it seems like they're bringing him along slowly. He only played 18 minutes. In the second half, like the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they gave his shorter stints to Willie Cauley-Stein rather than him, and then Kleber also got a bunch of run in the second half. So that's something to monitor moving forward. And then if this remains the case, Kleber's too cheap at 3,500. Yeah, 3,500 for Maxi Kleber. Played 27 minutes last game out, and he played a few minutes alongside Powell in the second quarter. So if we get those couple minutes of him at the 4, plus the backup and majority of the minutes at the 5 on that team, he's too cheap at 3,500. One of the sneakier value plays, in my opinion. We get Dorian Finney-Smith, 4.8K. He's averaged 0.73 fantasy points per minute since last year, but he's playing like 36 minutes a game. If this game stays competitive like I think it should, 4,800, that makes him one of the better value plays on the slate. And at that price, that's the most minutes you're going to be getting out of a player. Go over to the other side of the court with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this team is pretty hard to predict right now because with them coming off the shortest offseason in NBA history, LeBron James, Anthony Davis seemingly are taking it easy, especially with their minutes moving forward. LeBron missed the last 8 minutes of the game due to a rolled ankle, but it wasn't deemed bad enough for him to miss this game, so he is going to be healthy this game. But Vogel reported that LeBron will play shorter stints and be limited very early on in the season, which resulted in him playing 28 minutes. If it weren't for the rolled ankle, I think he would have played 30 to 32 minutes as opposed to like the 36 minutes he would have played last year. I'm avoiding this situation as a whole. It sounds like a nightmare to me right now. And even with Anthony Davis, he only played 30 minutes. He wasn't in foul trouble. The game was competitive all the way through. He didn't get hurt. Only played 30 minutes. His stints were shorter in the first and second quarter than we're used to seeing. Now, the normal rotation for the Lakers is that, looking back to last year, is that Anthony Davis would play the entirety of the first quarter, the entirety of the third quarter, and then he would come in with like 6 minutes left in the second and fourth quarter. But he was coming out with like 9 to 10 minutes in the first and third quarter. So they're cutting his minutes 4 to 5 to 6 minutes. So that makes it a bit less desirable. Now, it is Christmas Day. If you want to talk about the narrative that they're going to show out on Christmas and get full run, you can say that. But I think that they're trying to preserve their health for the playoffs in the finals. That's the goal for this Lakers team. I don't think early on the first two games mean all that much to them. And we saw some guys benefit from that. Dennis Schroeder had a 25.4% usage rating, a 43.1% assist percentage, and a really weird 24.5 total rebound percentage. Very bizarre from Dennis Schroeder. But I think that they might be just giving the reins to the younger new guys on this team to get acclimated to the team before the playoffs hit. So we could see Schroeder do something similar. He played 27 minutes. And then another guy I know it might be popular today, Montrezl Harrell, is going to be $6,000. Now, he played 32 minutes last game out, played very well in those minutes, but Marc Gasol was just in the absolute worst foul trouble possible. So I think on a regular basis, we see Montrezl probably play around 24 to 26 minutes, splitting those minutes with Marc Gasol. So timid your expectations for Montrezl Harrell in this game. But the thing to note with the Lakers is that Anthony Davis didn't play any minutes at the 5. It was split between just Marc Gasol and Montrezl Harrell. So it's easier to feel. It feels a lot safer playing Montrezl and Marc Gasol, I guess, if you want to play him at a cheap $4,200 price tag. Then we'll move over to the last game of the slate, guys. The Los Angeles Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets, a 223 over-under. The Clippers are currently 1-point favorites. Now, I'm not going to be playing all that many guys from this game as of right now, but the only real injury that we're monitoring on this slate is Marcus Morris, and it just so happens to be the last game of the slate, which kind of sucks. He is questionable and missed that last game, but Batum started in his place that last game. And he played 28 minutes and led the team with a 24% assist percentage. It looked like he was running the offense a lot when he was out there on the court, and he's only 4,500 still. Brought his price up, I think 400 or 500. He's minimum price over on FanDuel. I think he's a good play, again, if Marcus Morris does indeed miss. And then if Marcus Morris starts, you can just pivot over to him. Don't think he's necessarily the worst play. He's $600 more. But Ibaka played 20.5 minutes. Zubats played 26.5 minutes. I don't think that I'm not really sold that continues. I think over the course of the season, Serge is going to play more than Zubats, and I think Ibaka is a much better matchup against Nicola Yokoch. So 5,400 is pretty solid. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I think a lot of people are going to go to Paul George this game because of how good of a game he had the first game, which no doubt it was a really good game. I was on him quite a bit. On both sides, Leonard played 34 minutes with a 36% usage rating, a full 8% higher than Paul George, and they played similar minutes. But the thing is, Paul George shot 72.2% from the field, so I wouldn't expect that every time out. Yeah, I think Kawhi Leonard, projecting him for fantasy points at least, is going to be a lot higher than Paul George. Obviously, $1,100 more, but if I'm playing one of those guys, I'm probably going to be playing Kawhi Leonard with the usage rating being so much higher and similar assist and total rebound percentages. Move over to the last team of the slate, the Denver Nuggets. JaMychal Green is going to be out again. First game went to overtime, so you got to subtract 5 minutes from a lot of those guys that played in OT. Just subtract 5 minutes, and that's what you should normally get for the most part from Porter Jr., Jokic, Harris, Millsap, and Barton. You got to subtract at least 5 minutes. Now, the thing to point out in this game, that first game, is that Jamal Murray has missed a few minutes in the first half of foul trouble and then fouled out with a minute and 36 left. So he missed out on overtime. Would have played a couple. He missed out on probably a total of like 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes in regulation. And then obviously the 5 minutes in the overtime that gave more minutes to guys like Will Barton, Gary Harris. But Michael Porter Jr., he was in severe foul trouble in that first half. But looks like he was on pace to play 36 minutes if you extrapolate the second half minutes. And then He had a 26.6% usage rating, which is second on the team, and averaged 1.3 fantasy points per minute. So we can expect a big bounce back game from Michael Porter Jr. at 6,700. I think he's one of the best GPP plays. You know, a lot of people, including myself, are very high on him making significant improvements in his game for this Denver Nuggets team this year. 6.7K. He's going to be the second highest usage rating guy on this team and should play 36, 37, 38 minutes a game when he's not in foul trouble. And then over here on FanDuel, it's just a ridiculous 5.4K price tag. Pair him with Karis LeVert, and I think that you are saving a ton of money and getting absolute studs on your team. Like both of those guys. And then even over here on PrizePicks, I'm going to give you guys another play, 28. I think he smashes the over on this, even in a tougher matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers. The usage, the minutes are just too high for him not to get 28 minutes. If he plays 36 minutes, all he has to do is average a fantasy point per minute to beat this projection by 8 points. So I love the over on Michael Porter Jr. And then we have to go over Nicola Yokoch, of course, the stud of this team. Led the team with a 30.5% usage, 20.3% total rebound percentage, and a 51.9% assist percentage. Led the team in all those categories, and even 1.71 fantasy points per minute. Led in that as well. So 10.1K. He has one of the highest upsides on this slate, but it seems like at times he's not that involved in the offense. But if he's really out there trying, 10.1K is just entirely too cheap for Nicola Yokoch. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys watching this video. It's about 26 minutes long, so if you guys made it all the way through, shout out to you guys. I will be live streaming on twitch.tv/Taylor Stuber an hour before lock tomorrow. I might do some in-game showdown stuff as well. I'll be in the Discord all day if you guys want to ask some questions. I appreciate you guys being here. Best of luck. Hope you guys have a good holidays, good Christmas. And until next time, peace.